The Belgian government has recently issued and wrote in all of our newspapers that we should use our coin more. We should spend our coin more. There is a shortage of coin in the economy. Well, I have a better plan. Vinegar, of course. What else? These are our 1 to 5 cent euro coins. And the 1 to 5 cent euro coins are made of copper-plated steel. That means that we can dissolve the copper, watch this turn blue, and then use it as a mordant and dyestuff. But that might take a while, so I'll see you in a couple of days. It's been a minute, or a month, or two, since we looked at our copper experiment. Something has happened. It hasn't turned blue as I had kind of expected. Anyway, I think it is time to test out whether this is a viable mordant and, well, dyestuff in and of itself. But before we do that, I have made a mess of this place, so let's first clean out all my dyeing equipment and my dyeing space. And now that my mordanting and dye pots are casually drying outside, let's grab some fluff, some delicious fluff, and scour it. For, of course, we need a victim that is willing to die. Being completely frank with you all, I'm not sure what is going to happen because this is orange and I had expected it to turn blue. As by the example that Jenny Dean gives in her book, however, she had a different solution of extracting the copper. So did I maybe extract something else? Is this more akin to an iron solution than a copper solution? We shall only know when I start experimenting with it. I am once again being completely reckless, not following the sources and just doing my own experimentation because that is personally how I like to learn best. To be honest, it has the same smell as an iron solution. Well, here goes nothing. Let's return back in half an hour, to see if there has been any effect on this wool, because if everything turns out all right, it should also dye the wool itself. Not only mordant, but also dye it a little bit. yeah, here's hoping. Yeah, so instead of turning a greenish blue, like it should have if I was actually able to successfully extract the copper from my copper-plated steel coins, it turned orange. Or like really pale beige or something, but the same color that the water turned in my glass jar. So I could, at this angle, call it quits and say my project has failed. But I think that is neither what you nor I want to be the conclusion of this video. So we're still going to try and use whatever I have extracted from our copper-plated steel coins as a mordant. Let's see how it performs, what it does it have any effects on the color. And I might also try to get some actual copper and maybe a better acid to dissolve it in. Yeah, that's what we're going to try. That will be the future of this video. Can we make a dealio on that? Yeah, I think that's a good dealio. Let's continue with this. Now, as our mordant is the unknown variable in this dye, I actually do not know what mordant we have created, if it will bite down, mortar, on the fiber at all. So let's take a dyestuff that we are familiar with. So at least one of the things might be an outcome that we expect. I'm going to take some onion peels. We know that this will give a heckin' bright yellow. If it in the end does something else, then we know that we have extracted at least something that modifies color. You probably noticed I'm really awkward about this because I really hoped it would work. It didn't. Now I don't know what to do with myself. I hope you still enjoy the video, and I hope the second part of this video goes a bit better presenting wise as well. I wanted to make a nice effect of all the bits of onion falling down, but it's not going to work. The effects will not affect. I'm going to go on a limb here and say that we have achieved a pretty satisfactory dye bath. When we lift up the veil of onion skins, what are we going to see? Not what I was expecting. Or maybe, yeah. This is not what onion peels do usually. I think it can be unanimously agreed upon that this hue is what you achieve if you add a lot of gray to yellow and not blue to yellow. So my hunch that I might have extracted iron instead of copper, I think is correct. Double checked with this fluff. It is, however, a nice color. I am not mad about this. But I wanted copper, and we shall have copper, for I have bought 99.5% pure copper wire. I also have a fresh, clean new jar and more vinegar. Let's try this again! Well, like copper wire is slinky. Apparently. How am I supposed to? I'm just going to. I'm not going to use everything for this solution. I think that's not really necessary. I'm going to get just a bit of this wire. Copper really smells foul to me. Oh, I'm going to wash my hands so many times after this. Because I don't like my hands smelling like any kind of metal, and this is absolutely the worst. Paquito, Paquito, I'm a burrito. This is going to take a while because the vinegar won't flow. This is also actually supposed to be a bit more potent vinegar than the previous one. Let's hope. I'm hopeful. At least there shouldn't be any iron in this to dissolve. Only copper. Am I delusional? Or have we actually achieved a blue concoction and thus dissolved some copper? Feel like we did. I have once again cleaned my pots. I'm scouring some wool. I don't think you need to see the actual detailed process of that again. Let's skip to the actual mordanting. So what I would like to be copper mordant and dye has been going for quite a bit right now, and I had hoped, like sincerely hoped, that the wool would have taken a little bit of a blue tint, a blue hue, because that is that copper does that, even if you just have a little bit of copper tubing in your dye vat. It didn't really. I mean, slightly, maybe, if you squint. But let us not be defeated by this and make another batch of our onion soup and see what the copper, however many is in here, will do with the onion dye. We managed to make another pungent, deep, dark onion soup. You know what time it is. Let's. Now, if everything went right, this shouldn't just be yellow fluff. Maybe I'll put it on heat again and see if anything changes. It's almost starting to look as if copper isn't my element. this is a piece of fluff that I have previously dyed with onion peels and did nothing to it. And this is our fluff that we have now dyed with the copper, and that, well, if everything turned right, should be more green than yellow, but actually it is orange. Whee! In all fairness, there are some spots that look a colder toned yellow than the one where I didn't do anything with. So maybe? I don't know. Only thing I know is that in a week I will be gone for 2 weeks. So that is 3 weeks in which my impatience will have no influence on the extraction of copper. So I'm just going to make another concoction, leave it there for like a month until it is actually blue, like unmistakably blue. I'm not giving up on this project. 3rd time a charm. I hope. We are approximately a month later, and while it once again has a slight blue tinge, it is yet again not bright blue. We are going to try one final 3rd time of achieving something with this copper solution. However, I'm going to change my plans and use it as an afterbath this time rather than a mordant. If this method of fudging around and finding out is not the way you prefer to learn new things, then I guess you must be interested in our sponsor, For. They offer a lot more organized and guided learning.
As today's video is sponsored by Skillshare. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts. Indeed, if you want to give natural dyeing a go, but don't fancy my experimental way of learning, Skillshare has an array of different classes teaching you the ins and outs of this craft. But also, if you're more interested in illustration and design or productivity and creative inspiration classes, Skillshare can help you take your skills to the next level. Via curated learning paths, you learn how to master a new skill or competency. You already know that I try to continually up my video making game, so I am currently taking a class on the basics of video lighting. Hopefully, you'll see some evolutions in future videos, as some did after I followed Skillshare's classes on Fairlight Audio Engine. Skillshare has made finding your ideal class or learning path easier with a new and improved class system, which includes smarter class categories, new topics, and the ability to find classes by software and material, and yes, yarn is such a material. If you want to join Skillshare as well, then head on down to the description box, because the first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1 month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today!
Now, as to get... No, you are so crooked. It is a disaster. Better. Now, as to get to the point where we actually add the copper as quickly as possible, I have already mordanted the fluff outside a frame with some alum, and I think I'm also done with extracting the dye out of the onion peels, so it is time to combine. Potent, very potent. Let's do some afterbath magic. I have separated a little bit of the fluff just as it is, because this is orange and I like it. And then I separated it into 2 extra tubs, because next to our blue copper spiral concoction, I also put some more liquid with the copper coins, and let's just see what that does. We'll be back shortly with the results. Well, at least the coins in this tub over here did something. This is clearly a different color of wool than when it went in after the initial onion bath. It's a lot darker, more grey, shifting towards the green. Is there copper in this? I still do not know. It could just have been iron again, because the copper wire seems to have done almost nothing, or actually nothing. maybe you could say that it is a little bit more of a bright yellow than the orange it was. Like, yeah, maybe you could say that. Maybe it is a little bit more a brighter yellow. But clearly the coins were the better investment in this case. This is the more visible change of the two. This is as far as I am willing to go with this experiment for now. We will put a "to be continued" at the end of this video or something, because I'm not done with this, clearly. I did not achieve what I set out to do. There is no actual blue or green coming from the copper itself. I might need to source some other pieces of copper, maybe check the thrift store for a copper dye pot. I don't know, but I am not satisfied with this result. I invested my coins in a better thing than the economy, that is for sure. But the colors that I got, they're not what I want. I'm still on the lookout for green, you know? Green! Normally I film dye videos to, you know, space out the knitting and the spinning videos to give myself more time. This was the opposite of that. I made spinning and knitting videos to give myself more time for this particular dyeing video. It took so long. I think I started this in July and it is now almost Christmas. Yeah, literally. That's how long this took, and this is why I am cutting this video short over here. Oh, and these two, they're already playing a major role in next week's video. So if you would like to see the continuation of this project, or see next week's video, or just in general like these kind of fiber shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment, or subscribe. But of course, that is all up to you, and as for me, I will see you in a next video. And these will too. But before we do that, maybe you could look at some more and more successful dyeing shenanigans. Bye.